Hello everyone, I hope you're having an amazing day as we have a lot of weather happening in the United States. Ongoing flooding and constant rain because of a stationary boundary around the Carolinas and Tennessee. Coastal flooding down by Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Flooding in the mountains of New Mexico. Heat warnings and severe risks in the northern plains. And fire weather happening in the west. But the first thing I want to start off with is the tropics heating back up. The National Hurricane Center has just issued a 20% chance of development on this tropical wave in the tropical Atlantic. So this X is the current position of the lower pressure system. That yellow line means that it's heading into this area that is favorable for development. It has a 20% chance of development in the next 7 days within this hatched area. If it does actually develop, it could cause a big problem for the entirety of the United States coast. Also, the Climate Prediction Center has also picked up on this signal. From July 31st to August 6th, there is a greater than 20% chance of tropical development in this area right here. There also is a 40% or greater chance right over here in the Pacific. And then also for August 7th through August 13th, there is another 20% or greater risk in the tropical Atlantic and a 20% or greater risk in the Pacific. Looking at the current satellite, you can definitely see that there's a tropical wave. Right over here, there's a tropical wave, but there's also lots of dry air that this is going to be fighting with. But it should be able to maneuver itself where it should be able to keep its tropical air and possibly become a tropical storm. The system right here is going to track into this area right over here. We really have no clue where it could hit or if it even will become a tropical storm. Really anywhere right over here has a good chance of getting hit by the system, but hopefully it will just bring some showers and nothing bad. If we look over here at the EPS model, this is an ensemble, so that means that it takes a lot of different models and averages them out. Where you see these red things right over here are low pressure centers, and hurricanes are low pressure systems. So wherever you see those red things is where there is a low pressure systems. There's no given that they're tropical or not, but they just are low pressures. And then also you see how the map is currently blue? This is where high pressure is likely. Once it starts to turn more orange or red, that's where low pressure is more likely. So as we move this through, you can see the first system that we start to watch is starting at around Sunday morning. So this is a little tropical system coming off of the Carolinas, and it should be extra tropical and not bring anything but some small winds and some rain to the northeast. So as you can see, those centers right over here are centered around the northeast, and it starts to turn a little bit more yellow over there, meaning that there is a high percentage of those low pressure systems right there. But the main thing that we're watching, as you can see, there's a lot of low pressure centers are right over here, and they will continue to track closer to the United States. As you can see, it's starting to turn more yellow over here, and there are a lot of low pressure centers. Where you see all these red numbers right here, these are any of the possible tracks that this system could take. And as you can see, a lot of them are centered around southwest or southeast Florida. And then a lot of them continue to either track up into Georgia or over here to the panhandle of Florida and the panhandle of Alabama as we continue to play this through. Also, some of them like to bring it up to the Carolinas. Some of them like to bring it to Louisiana and Texas. You just have no idea where the system will go yet because we are just too far out. We also have no idea if this system will become a tropical storm or not because we're just too far out. The only thing that we know is that it will possibly develop into a tropical cyclone in this area, but it only has a 20% chance currently. One model that has been picking this up for a while is the European model. If we play this model through, you can definitely see the tropical wave right over here with all of this moisture. So what this model is showing is where rain is likely. So you can see there's a lot of rain over there, meaning it's a tropical wave as it's coming off of Africa. And then as we continue to go over here, this begins to move over to Cuba and Florida. As it moves over there, this European model starts to show it as a low pressure system, and then starts to show that low pressure system make a landfall near the Alabama panhandle as probably just a tropical low. I don't think this will be much of anything according to the Euro model. Possibly a tropical depression, but it shouldn't bring that much bad weather with it. Hopefully it'll bring some much needed rain to portions of northern Georgia and northern Alabama as they are in an extreme drought right now. And remember, we are nowhere near the peak of hurricane season. We are around right here. The peak of hurricane season is around right here in the middle of September. So we still have a long way to go until peak hurricane season. So be sure to be prepared, know evacuation routes, and know what to do if a hurricane is coming for you. But for this system right now, there is no reason to worry. We don't know if it will hit the US. We don't know if it'll even become a tropical storm. The next thing I want to talk about is wildfires. Currently, we have a huge wildfire that has burned 120,000 acres in California. This is the Park Fire. If we play this loop, you can see at night. You can see the fire at night, and then also a little bit of a fire in Nevada. But this fire was huge at night. As you can see, it just burning away. And then as daylight shines, you can actually see the burn scar from this. So as you can see, all that brown right there. So all of that brown that you see right there, that's where the fire has burned parts of California. So this is a huge fire. You may have also seen that this created a huge fire tornado. So as you can see, this whole thing that is rotating, that is a huge fire tornado. Luckily, everyone was evacuated, and this fire tornado hopefully didn't harm anyone. But now let's look at the national severe risk. So today, there's not much to worry about. Just a couple marginal risks in the northern Great Plains and in Utah, Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico. Over in the west, these are driven by wind, and also driven by wind over here in the northern Great Plains, except for North Dakota and Minnesota are in a tornado risk, a 2% tornado risk, the lowest tornado risk, and a 5% hail risk. Looking at tomorrow, we have a little bit higher of a severe risk in the same areas, basically. Areas of the northern Great Plains, also with Idaho and Utah. But the main severe weather will be right over here in North Dakota and Minnesota, where you have yourself another 2% tornado risk, a 15% hail risk in portions of North Dakota, and a 15% wind risk. And then Sunday, we'll have a big marginal risk for portions of the Midwest and the Plains. This will likely be driven by wind and hail. Areas in the green is where you could maybe see a very isolated flood event. Areas in the yellow is where you could see maybe a couple isolated flood events. So as you can see, places like the Carolinas, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and portions of New Mexico are under a slight risk. And then looking at day 2, much of the same, except for there is also a slight risk in Texas. And then day 3 for excessive rainfall, there is 2 slight risks. One is in Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota. And then the other one right over here is in the Tennessee and Kentucky area, also including areas of Alabama and Georgia. This should bring some much needed rain to areas of Tennessee and Alabama in the northern part where they are in extreme droughts. And then looking at the climate prediction centers for days 6 through 10, so for Thursday through Monday, there is a high chance of above average temperatures in much of the US. The darker red you are, the greater above average chance that you have. But then also areas like southern Texas have a small chance of some below normal temperatures. So hopefully they can get a relief from the heat. And then days 8 through 14, there is no relief from the heat, as mostly everywhere in the US is expected to see above average temperatures. This is from Saturday to Friday. And no, not this Saturday, next Saturday. And then days 6 through 10, so this is Thursday through Monday. As you can see, portions of the East Coast and the Ohio Valley are going to see above average rain, but then portions of the Great Plains, northern Great Plains, are going to see below average rain. Also, portions of Southern California are going to see above average rain. And then 8 through 14, next Saturday through next Friday, we are going to see much of the same. East Coast getting some rain, California getting some rain, and some below average rain in the plains. That is really all. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. And if you do have any questions, be sure to comment down below. And also, if you have any helpful criticism, be sure to comment down below. And I'll see you guys in the next video.